The Otay Mesa port of entry, San Diego. April 30th, 2025. A seemingly ordinary day at the border crossing. Customs and Border Protection officers encountered Naim Lajud Libien, a 54-year-old Mexican citizen, driving a Jeep Grand Cherokee. Libien's attire, a cowboy hat and boots, seemed fitting for the region, but beneath the surface of this everyday encounter, a shocking discovery awaited. During a routine inspection, officers noticed something unusual. Libien's nervousness and the faint chirping sounds emanating from his person aroused suspicion. The officers decided on a more thorough search. What they uncovered was a disturbing case of wildlife smuggling. Concealed within Libien's cowboy boots were 6 orange-fronted parakeets, tiny bundles of feathers stuffed into nylon stockings. The birds, their delicate bodies bound at the feet, were crammed into the cramped, dark confines of his footwear. Further inspection revealed 6 more parakeets hidden within the seat cushions of his vehicle. Libien's attempt to smuggle these endangered birds into the United States was thwarted. He was immediately arrested and now faces serious charges for his crime. This incident, though shocking, is a stark reminder of the pervasive and cruel world of wildlife trafficking. The 12 orange-fronted parakeets endured a horrific journey at the hands of their smuggler. Crammed into stockings, deprived of food, water and fresh air, they were treated with utter disregard for their well-being. The birds' suffering was evident. 2 of the parakeets did not survive the ordeal, succumbing to the inhumane conditions. One of the birds died with a suspected broken neck, a testament to the rough handling and cramped confinement they endured. The surviving birds were discovered in a pitiful state. Weak, dehydrated and traumatized, they bore the physical and emotional scars of their ordeal. Some had injuries to their delicate feet, a result of being bound for an extended period. The surviving birds were immediately taken into the care of professionals. They received food, water and much-needed veterinary attention. The road to recovery would be long, but at least they were now in safe hands. Their story, however, serves as a stark reminder of the cruelty inflicted upon countless animals caught in the web of wildlife trafficking. Orange-fronted parakeets, with their vibrant plumage and playful nature, are highly sought after in the pet trade. Native to western Mexico and Costa Rica, these small parrots captivate with their bright green bodies, blue-tipped wings and distinctive orange foreheads. But these birds are much more than just beautiful creatures. They play a vital role in their natural ecosystems. As seed dispersers and pollinators, they contribute to the health and diversity of their habitats. The demand for these birds as pets, however, fuels a lucrative illegal trade. This trade, driven by greed and fueled by a lack of awareness, pushes these birds closer to the brink of extinction. The orange-fronted parakeet is listed on Appendix 2 of the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species, or CITES. This designation means that while international commercial trade is not entirely prohibited, it is strictly regulated to ensure the species' survival in the wild. The illegal smuggling of these birds, as in the case of Naim Lajud Libien, directly undermines these conservation efforts. The Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora, known as CITES, is an international agreement between governments. Its aim is to ensure that international trade in specimens of wild animals and plants does not threaten their survival. CITES Appendix 2, where the orange-fronted parakeet is listed, includes species not necessarily threatened with extinction, but that may become so unless trade is closely controlled. Importing species listed under CITES requires adherence to strict regulations. Permits and documentation are necessary to ensure that the trade is legal and sustainable. Furthermore, quarantine procedures are crucial to prevent the spread of diseases. Avian influenza, for example, is a significant concern, and proper quarantine measures help mitigate the risk of transmission through the illegal pet trade. The illegal smuggling of orange-fronted parakeets, as in the case of Naim Lajud Libien, violates CITES regulations and undermines the very purpose of the convention. It is a blatant disregard for international agreements designed to protect our planet's biodiversity. This case highlights the urgent need for stronger enforcement and stricter penalties to deter wildlife traffickers. It's becoming increasingly clear that we're facing a global crisis. Our planet's biodiversity is under threat like never before. Species are disappearing at an alarming rate and ecosystems are being disrupted. This isn't just a local issue, it's a worldwide emergency. Every action we take or don't take has far-reaching consequences. It's crucial that we all come together to address this crisis and work towards a sustainable future, because honestly, the stakes couldn't be higher. The consequences for wildlife traffickers are becoming increasingly severe. Authorities around the world are stepping up their efforts to combat this illegal trade. Penalties range from hefty fines to long prison sentences. These measures aim to deter traffickers and protect endangered species from extinction. It's a global effort, and every action counts. Addressing wildlife trafficking requires a multifaceted approach. This includes strengthening laws, enhancing enforcement, and promoting international cooperation. Governments, NGOs, and local communities must work together. By combining resources and expertise, we can create a more effective response to this complex issue. It's not just about enforcement, it's about collaboration and innovation. Public education is a powerful weapon in the fight against wildlife trafficking. By raising awareness, we can reduce demand for illegal wildlife products. Schools, media, and community programs play a crucial role. When people understand the impact of their choices, they are more likely to make sustainable decisions. Education empowers individuals to become advocates for wildlife conservation. Protecting our planet's precious wildlife is a shared responsibility. Every action, no matter how small, makes a difference. From supporting conservation organizations to making informed consumer choices, we all have a role to play. Together, we can ensure that future generations inherit a world rich in biodiversity. It's a mission that requires dedication, but the rewards are immeasurable. The illegal wildlife trade isn't just a crime against individual species, it's a crime against entire ecosystems. When species are removed from their natural habitats, the delicate balance that sustains these environments is disrupted. Predators lose their prey, plants lose their pollinators, and the intricate web of life begins to unravel. This disruption has far-reaching consequences. Rivers may change course, forests might fail to regenerate, and even climate patterns can be affected. The impact spreads like ripples in a pond, affecting not just the immediate environment but also human communities that rely on these ecosystems for their livelihoods. However, there is hope. By raising awareness and taking action, we can combat this devastating trade and help restore balance to our ecosystems. Protecting our planet's wildlife means protecting the very foundation of life on Earth. It's a challenge we must rise to for the sake of all living beings. Together we can make a difference. Together we can protect our world. In the fight against illegal wildlife trafficking, international organizations play a pivotal role. From the World Wildlife Fund to Interpol, these organizations work tirelessly to combat this global crisis. They coordinate cross-border efforts, provide crucial funding, and spearhead groundbreaking research to understand and dismantle trafficking networks. One of the key strategies involves international treaties and agreements, such as the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora, or CITES. This treaty, signed by over 180 countries, regulates the trade of wildlife and plants to ensure their survival in the wild. By setting strict guidelines and enforcing penalties, CITES aims to prevent species from being driven to extinction by illegal trade. Additionally, organizations like the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, UNODC, focus on the legal aspects, working with governments to strengthen laws and enhance enforcement capabilities. They offer training programs for law enforcement officers, customs officials, and wildlife rangers, equipping them with the skills and knowledge needed to identify and intercept trafficked wildlife. Non-governmental organizations also play a crucial role. Groups like Traffic and the Wildlife Conservation Society engage in on-the-ground efforts to monitor wildlife populations, rescue trafficked animals, and educate local communities about the importance of conservation. These collective efforts are making a difference. Success stories of rescued animals, dismantled trafficking rings, and rehabilitated habitats serve as a testament to what can be achieved when the world comes together to protect its wildlife. But the fight is far from over. Continued support and collaboration are essential to ensure a future where wildlife can thrive. By supporting these international efforts, we all become part of the solution. Together, we can turn the tide against wildlife trafficking and safeguard our planet's precious biodiversity for generations to come. Wildlife smuggling doesn't just harm animals, it also has profound effects on local communities. In many regions, wildlife trafficking disrupts the delicate balance of ecosystems, leading to environmental degradation that directly impacts livelihoods. For example, communities that rely on ecotourism suffer economically when wildlife populations decline due to illegal poaching and trafficking. Tourists are less likely to visit areas where iconic species like elephants, tigers, and rhinos are endangered or extinct. Moreover, the loss of biodiversity can affect agriculture, as many local farmers depend on a healthy ecosystem for pest control and pollination. The illegal trade in wildlife often involves organized crime networks that bring violence and corruption to rural areas, making life dangerous for residents and undermining local governance. This lawlessness can deter investment and development, trapping communities in a cycle of poverty and instability. However, local communities are also a crucial part of the solution. Many grassroots organizations work tirelessly to combat wildlife trafficking by engaging local people in conservation efforts. By providing alternative livelihoods such as sustainable farming and eco-friendly crafts, these initiatives offer economic incentives to protect rather than exploit wildlife. Community-based conservation programs also educate residents about the importance of preserving their natural heritage, fostering a sense of pride and stewardship. In some areas, former poachers have become passionate conservationists, using their knowledge to protect the very species they once hunted. These transformative stories highlight the potential for change when communities are empowered to take action. By supporting local efforts and fostering collaboration between governments, NGOs, and residents, we can create a more sustainable future for both wildlife and people. Ultimately, the fight against wildlife smuggling is not just about saving animals. It's about protecting the interconnected web of life that sustains us all. Together, we can ensure that local communities thrive alongside the magnificent creatures that share our planet. And as the fight against wildlife trafficking intensifies, technological innovations have emerged as powerful tools in the battle to protect endangered species. From drones to DNA analysis, technology is revolutionizing the way we monitor and safeguard wildlife. Drones equipped with high-resolution cameras can cover vast areas of habitat that are difficult for humans to patrol. These aerial devices can detect poachers in real time, allowing rangers to respond swiftly and effectively. In places like Africa, drones have already proven to be a game-changer in the fight against elephant and rhino poaching. Another groundbreaking technology is the use of DNA analysis to track and identify trafficked animals. By creating genetic databases of endangered species, scientists can trace the origin of seized wildlife products, linking them back to specific poaching incidents. This not only helps in prosecuting traffickers, but also aids in understanding and dismantling smuggling networks. Advanced satellite imagery and geographic information systems, GIS, are also being used to map critical habitats and migration routes. These tools help conservationists to identify areas that need urgent protection and to monitor changes in land use that could threaten wildlife. Moreover, artificial intelligence, AI, and machine learning are being harnessed to predict poaching hotspots. By analyzing patterns in weather, terrain, and historical poaching data, AI can forecast where illegal activities are likely to occur, allowing for preemptive measures to be taken. In addition to these high-tech solutions, there are also simpler yet effective innovations like camera traps and acoustic sensors. Camera traps capture images of wildlife and potential poachers, while acoustic sensors can detect the sounds of gunshots or chainsaws, alerting authorities to illegal activities. These technological advancements are not just tools. They represent hope and progress in our ongoing struggle to protect the planet's precious wildlife. By leveraging the power of innovation, we can stay one step ahead of traffickers and ensure that future generations inherit a world rich in biodiversity. Technology, when combined with the dedication and courage of conservationists, offers a beacon of hope in the fight against wildlife trafficking. Together, we can harness these innovations to create a safer, more sustainable world for all living beings. Governments around the world play a crucial role in enforcing wildlife protection laws. Their efforts are fundamental in curbing illegal wildlife trade and ensuring the survival of endangered species. Strong legislation is the backbone of effective wildlife protection. Governments must enact and enforce laws that criminalize poaching, smuggling, and the illegal trade of wildlife products. These laws need to be robust and comprehensive, covering all aspects of wildlife trafficking from the ground up. But legislation alone is not enough. Effective enforcement is key. Governments need to allocate sufficient resources to wildlife protection agencies, including well-trained personnel, advanced equipment, and adequate funding. Rangers and law enforcement officers on the front lines must be equipped to handle the dangers posed by poachers and traffickers. International cooperation is also vital. Wildlife trafficking is a transnational crime, and no single country can tackle it alone. Governments must collaborate with international organizations such as Interpol and the World Customs Organization to track and apprehend traffickers who operate across borders. Moreover, governments need to engage with local communities, providing them with incentives to protect wildlife rather than exploit it. Community-based conservation programs can empower local people to become stewards of their natural heritage, creating alternative livelihoods that do not rely on poaching or trafficking. Public awareness campaigns are another essential tool. Governments should invest in educating the public about the importance of wildlife conservation and the devastating impact of illegal trade. By fostering a culture of respect and care for wildlife, governments can reduce demand for illicit wildlife products. Finally, governments must hold traffickers accountable. Strong judicial systems are necessary to ensure that those caught in wildlife crimes face severe penalties. This serves as a deterrent to others and reinforces the message that wildlife trafficking will not be tolerated. In conclusion, the role of governments in enforcing wildlife protection laws is multifaceted and indispensable. Through strong legislation, effective enforcement, international cooperation, community engagement, public education, and judicial accountability, governments can lead the charge in the fight against wildlife trafficking. Together, with the support of global citizens, we can ensure a future where wildlife thrives in their natural habitats. While the battle against wildlife trafficking is daunting, there are heartwarming success stories that remind us of the impact of our efforts. These stories of rescued and rehabilitated wildlife are testaments to the resilience of nature and the dedication of those fighting to protect it. Take, for example, the case of Hope, a young orangutan found orphaned in the rainforests of Borneo. Poachers had killed her mother, leaving her vulnerable and alone. Thanks to the swift actions of local wildlife rescue teams and international support, Hope was taken to a rehabilitation center. There she received medical care, nourishment, and the social interaction she needed to thrive. Today, Hope is a thriving adult, living in a protected sanctuary, free from the threats that once endangered her life. In Africa, the story of Ndume, a black rhino, brings a similar ray of hope. Ndume was found injured and malnourished after escaping poachers. Wildlife rangers and veterinarians worked tirelessly to nurse him back to health. With the aid of anti-poaching patrols and dedicated conservation efforts, Ndume has not only survived but has become a symbol of resilience and hope for his species. These stories are not just isolated incidents. Across the globe, countless animals have been given a second chance at life, thanks to the efforts of wildlife protection agencies, non-profits and community involvement. From sea turtles rescued from entanglement in fishing nets to exotic birds saved from illegal pet trade, each success story represents a victory in the fight against wildlife trafficking. These rescues are made possible through the collaboration of governments, international organizations, and local communities. By providing resources, expertise, and unwavering commitment, they ensure that animals like Hope and Ndume can live free and safe. As we continue to fight against wildlife trafficking, these success stories serve as powerful reminders of what can be achieved. They inspire us to keep pushing forward, knowing that every effort counts and that together we can make a difference. Let these stories of rescued and rehabilitated wildlife inspire you to join the cause. Whether through supporting conservation efforts, spreading awareness, or advocating for stronger wildlife protection laws, each of us has a role to play in ensuring a brighter future for our planet's precious wildlife. As we look to the future, the landscape of wildlife conservation is both promising and fraught with challenges. The fight against wildlife trafficking and the protection of endangered species require constant vigilance, innovation, and collaboration. One of the major challenges is the ever-evolving tactics of wildlife traffickers. As authorities crack down on known methods, traffickers adapt, finding new ways to exploit loopholes and evade detection. This cat-and-mouse game demands continuous advancements in technology and strategy from conservationists and law enforcement agencies. However, the opportunities for progress are immense. Technological innovations such as drone surveillance, DNA tracking, and artificial intelligence are revolutionizing the way we monitor and protect wildlife. Drones can cover vast areas of land, providing real-time data and spotting poachers before they strike. DNA tracking helps trace the origins of trafficked animals, leading authorities back to the source of the crime. Artificial intelligence can analyze patterns and predict trafficking routes, allowing for preemptive action. Moreover, the role of local communities cannot be overstated. Empowering indigenous and local populations to become stewards of their natural resources creates a powerful frontline defense against poaching and habitat destruction. Community-led conservation programs not only protect wildlife but also provide sustainable livelihoods, fostering a symbiotic relationship between people and nature. International collaboration remains a cornerstone of effective wildlife conservation. Treaties, agreements, and joint initiatives enable countries to share knowledge, resources, and strategies. By working together, nations can tackle wildlife trafficking on a global scale, ensuring that no region becomes a safe haven for illegal activities. Education and public awareness are also pivotal. As more people become informed about the plight of endangered species and the impact of wildlife trafficking, the movement for conservation gains strength. Public support can drive policy changes, increase funding for conservation projects, and inspire individuals to take action in their own communities. In conclusion, while the road ahead is challenging, it is also filled with potential. By leveraging technology, fostering community involvement, enhancing international cooperation, and raising public awareness, we can create a future where wildlife thrives. The fight for conservation is far from over, but with determination, innovation, and unity, we can overcome the obstacles and seize the opportunities that lie ahead. Together, let's continue to protect and preserve our planet's precious wildlife for generations to come. As we navigate the complex terrain of wildlife conservation, each of us has a role to play in protecting our planet's precious species. While large-scale initiatives and technological advancements are crucial, individual actions can collectively make a significant impact. First, consider supporting reputable wildlife conservation organizations. These groups rely on donations and volunteer efforts to fund anti-poaching patrols, rescue and rehabilitation centers, and community-led conservation programs. Your contributions can directly aid in the fight against wildlife trafficking and habitat destruction. Next, be a conscious consumer. Avoid products that contribute to wildlife exploitation, such as items made from endangered species or unsustainably sourced materials. By making informed choices, you can reduce demand for illegal wildlife products and promote ethical practices in industries like fashion, cosmetics, and tourism. Education is another powerful tool. Stay informed about the issues facing wildlife and share your knowledge with others. Social media, blogs, and community events are excellent platforms for raising awareness and inspiring action. The more people understand the urgency of wildlife conservation, the stronger our collective efforts will be. Advocate for stronger wildlife protection laws. Contact your local representatives and urge them to support legislation that combats wildlife trafficking and protects natural habitats. Public pressure can lead to policy changes that have far-reaching effects on conservation efforts. If you have the opportunity, participate in citizen science projects. Many organizations offer programs where volunteers can help monitor wildlife populations, report illegal activities, and contribute to research. These initiatives not only provide valuable data, but also foster a deeper connection to nature and its preservation. Lastly, support sustainable tourism. When traveling, choose eco-friendly destinations and tour operators that prioritize wildlife conservation. By promoting responsible tourism, you help ensure that local communities benefit economically while preserving their natural heritage. In conclusion, While the challenges of wildlife conservation are immense, the potential for positive change is equally vast. Every action, no matter how small, contributes to a larger movement dedicated to protecting our planet's biodiversity. Together, we can create a world where wildlife thrives and future generations inherit a thriving, vibrant planet. Join us in this vital mission and be a part of the solution. The power to protect wildlife is in our hands. While the moral and ecological reasons for combating wildlife trafficking are compelling, it's also crucial to understand the economic impact this illegal trade has on global economies. Wildlife trafficking is a multi-billion-dollar industry, second only to the illegal drug trade and human trafficking. This illicit market not only threatens biodiversity but also undermines legitimate businesses and economies, particularly in developing countries. First, let's consider the direct financial losses. Countries rich in biodiversity often rely on ecotourism as a significant source of revenue. The presence of iconic species like elephants, rhinos, and tigers attracts tourists from around the world, generating income for local communities and national economies. When these animals are poached and trafficked, it leads to a decline in wildlife populations, making these destinations less attractive to visitors. The loss of tourism revenue can be devastating, particularly for communities that depend on it for their livelihoods. Moreover, wildlife trafficking often operates in conjunction with other forms of organized crime, such as drug smuggling and money laundering. These criminal networks destabilize economies by promoting corruption and undermining the rule of law. In many cases, the profits from wildlife trafficking are used to fund other illegal activities, creating a vicious cycle that perpetuates poverty and instability. Additionally, the illegal wildlife trade imposes significant costs on governments and conservation organizations. Resources that could be used for development and social services are instead diverted to combat poaching and trafficking. Anti-poaching patrols, legal proceedings, and rehabilitation centers for rescued animals all require substantial financial investment. This diverts funds away from other critical areas such as education, healthcare, and infrastructure development. Local communities also bear the brunt of the economic impact. In areas where wildlife trafficking is rampant, people often find themselves caught between the allure of quick money from poaching and the long-term benefits of sustainable conservation efforts. The loss of wildlife can also lead to ecological imbalances that affect agriculture, water resources, and overall quality of life. For instance, the decline of key species can disrupt food chains and lead to overpopulation of certain animals, which can harm crops and livestock. In conclusion, the economic impact of wildlife trafficking is profound and far-reaching. It not only threatens the survival of countless species, but also undermines the economic stability and development of entire regions. By addressing and curbing this illegal trade, we can protect both our natural heritage and the economic well-being of communities around the world. Together, we can create a future where wildlife and human societies thrive in harmony. Join us in this critical fight against wildlife trafficking and help secure a better future for all. As we delve deeper into the crisis of wildlife trafficking, it's essential to understand the broader implications it has on biodiversity and ecosystem health. Biodiversity, the variety of life on Earth, is the foundation of ecosystem stability and resilience. Healthy ecosystems provide a multitude of services that are crucial for human survival and well-being, including clean air and water, pollination of crops, climate regulation, and disease control. When species are removed from their natural habitats through poaching and trafficking, it sets off a chain reaction that can destabilize entire ecosystems. For example, the illegal hunting of apex predators like tigers and lions can lead to an overpopulation of herbivores, which in turn can devastate vegetation and alter landscapes. This imbalance can reduce the land's ability to support other wildlife, leading to a decline in biodiversity. Furthermore, the loss of biodiversity affects more than just the environment. It has direct consequences for human health and livelihoods. Many communities rely on the natural world for food, medicine, and economic activities. The degradation of ecosystems can lead to the scarcity of resources, increased vulnerability to natural disasters, and a rise in diseases that can jump from animals to humans, known as zoonotic diseases. Maintaining biodiversity is also critical for scientific research and innovation. Many medical breakthroughs, agricultural advancements, and technological innovations have been inspired by the natural world. The extinction of species means the loss of potential discoveries that could benefit humanity. In essence, protecting biodiversity is not just about saving individual species, it's about preserving the intricate web of life that supports all living beings, including humans. By combating wildlife trafficking and promoting conservation efforts, we can ensure the health and sustainability of our ecosystems. Join us in recognizing the importance of biodiversity and ecosystem health. Together, we can make a difference in preserving our planet's natural heritage for future generations. The fight against wildlife trafficking is not just an environmental issue, it's a battle for the survival of our world as we know it.